Hello, beautiful people. Gaming is dead. Wait, I meant alive and well. Sorry, I got my script wrong. While large companies keep laying off talented developers to focus on more soulless looter shooters and make the numbers go up regardless of the cost, the indie scene is still killing it. But we don't often celebrate the solo devs who spent their time crafting their vision and releasing it to the world. And I want to change that with this new series. So grab a drink and prepare to meet some new games to love. Marcus Horn, Siactro, is the legend we're looking at today. Creator of 3D platformers heavily inspired by a retro aesthetic and games from Rareware. Games that stick to their simplicity and remove the excess to leave you with the perfect snack. Not too filling, but boy is it tasty. I'd suggest checking out his itch.io page because there are some extra games I didn't cover. That could be of interest to some of you and worth playing for a few minutes. Not to mention, they're free. But I want to start off by looking at the inspiration for this video. Little backstory for how this idea came to be. One night while sick, I lay on my couch perusing the Switch, looking for something to play that wasn't Zelda. I checked out the store and saw Toree 3D and 2 on sale for around 20 Rand, which is like the price of a soda here, so I purchased it. Toree 3D is one of the most fun bite-sized games you can find out there. Having this cute little chick run down courses at full speed, collecting stars and jumping around, is delightful. I had a smile on my face while playing, and once I was done, I felt complete, for at least a few more hours. The game is level-based and has you running to the exit collecting stars, and later trying to beat your time to get an S rank, all while listening to some great music, and getting immersed in the retro PS1 Saturn aesthetic. Huh, that's weird. Controls are tight and responsive. There's a double jump to correct your angle if you mess up, but other than that, there's no combat. It's a game that sticks to its simplicity and embraces it. Imagine a delicious cheese sandwich, now add a juicy tomato, and we got a treat. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, it's a great game, and worth the measly price. Speaking of sandwiches, Toree 2 is the Dagwood in this thinly veiled scenario. I'm back. Sorry, I had to get lunch. So take everything that's great about Toree and improve it a tiny bit for 2. More great music, tighter controls, and improved level design. Why is this even here? There are added jump pads in the form of lounge chairs and boost circles to have you move faster. Levels of a quicker pace to move through and feel more satisfying. That's something I will get into later, but Marcus Horn really removes the guff from his games and instead focuses on the fast and fun gameplay without any barrier to entry. But he also adds another little spice to this dish. Horror. A common thread among some of the games going ahead is an unspeakable horror peeking in through the veil, always watching and judging, but never interacting. But unlike other cute horror games, the horror is subdued and won't hit you with constant jump scares, instead focusing on the feeling of dread that comes associated with otherworldly horror, and mixes that with the cute elements of having ice cream with death. There are a few free Toree games you can download, including his newest, Toree Saturn, which showcases the way Marcus has iterated on the gameplay and has made movement and platforming feel even smoother every subsequent game. Toree 2 has a level experimenting with the collectathon aspect, but I feel future games remain better with the momentum-based platforming. There's something pure in the design that I hope never gets lost in any sequels. The Toree games seem to be Marcus Horn's biggest hits, getting the most coverage and putting his name out there, and opening the way for another little series from him, the Kiwi trilogy. Before starting with the trilogy, we have to go a little bit back, starting with Kiwi 64, a platformer made by Marcus with a style reminiscent of Rare games back on the N64. It's short, but you don't need to experience it for these next few games. Instead, take a look at Macbat 64, the first part of the trilogy. I call it the trilogy because all 3 games are on Steam, not because that's an official name for it. I'm just not very creative sometimes. Macbat 64 is like Kiwi 64, taking a lot of inspiration from Rare games. I mean, just look at how everything has eyes, staring, judging. It's fun! Unlike the Toree games, it has more variety of style, running around levels, collecting hidden coins or other items, progressing in the level and ultimately getting a key. The goal here is to get the 6 keys to open a doorway and figure out what is happening to Kiwi Bean. It's a really hard word to say, it's Kiwi Bean. You know, Caribbean, Kiwi Bean, but I'm gonna mess it up every time. I loved it. Again, very short and a nice bite-sized chunk. There was variety, not necessarily the best, or a quantity over quality. The cart level was a bit dull, but the last battle was surprisingly epic and unexpected. Macbat has a flight jump much like when you unlock him in Toree, but there's a limit to the height here, so there isn't much of a challenge in the platforming. It's all about the exploration and taking in the nice music. It took about 30 minutes to complete, but I enjoyed the experience. Macbat really is a nice chap. Next up is Beeny, a cute little game where the goal is just to reach the top, jumping between branches, and there's nothing much more going on than... Okay, I lied. This game is hard. You could crack a walnut between my shoulder blades with how tense I was playing. Look at all the dead Vikings! How did they even get up there? Jumping between ledges is fun, but there's always the sense that I'm going to fall, even though the game has a safety net for you in case you fall down. So there's no reason to really feel stressed. But then this horror shows up. The Hell game. Levels get more complicated over time, with things like the wind making jumping harder, or bouncing off other poor bees. It's fun. Give it a go. Cheap, but a good challenge. Like Jump King, but you can actually finish it. Lastly, the end of the trilogy, and quite a game to end this video on. Super Kiwi 64. This feels like the culmination of all the previous games. The wonderful aesthetics, smooth controls, music that just sticks in your head for hours, and finally, more cosmic horror. Run, jump, glide around and collect all the gears and crystals around the level. You also have a spin that's a little broken in letting you climb up some places you shouldn't, but I'm not complaining. I like cheating. Don't tell anyone. The controls are once again nice. Levels provide some great platforming with verticality, something his other games haven't had much of, hitting up various structures and even changing the landscapes in one level. The only negative is there isn't much challenge. You have a life bar, but until the DLC, I don't think I ever got hit by anything. Later you get an upgrade to your pack to run and glide even faster, and this is just Sonic now. Sega, please give this man a budget. I know I keep talking about how much fun these games are, but if you don't want to try the others, Kiwi 64 is his best game. In January of this year, 2024, we also got some DLC, Doomsday, and the name is accurate, as the villain from Macbat 64 is trying to unleash hell upon the Kiwi being. Nice, I said it correctly. This adds 3 more levels and a boss fight. The first level is a sci-fi western vibe, and it adds homing blocks that can launch you forward, and a ton of mini objectives to complete again. The second stage is a vertical scroll up a cyberpunk style tower that has some interesting uses for the beak spin to get up ledges. Finally, the last level has you unlock a friend to help you beat the final boss, but I don't want to spoil that. Go play the game instead. And the DLC is free, so you get that added bonus. So if you were to get any of these games, between this and Toree 2 are the easiest to recommend. And given their short length, they can be enjoyed over a weekend or fun evening of gaming. And if you have any kids in the area, just drop them in front of these and take a nap. You can explain the Eldritch horror after you wake up. This started as me just wanting to talk about these fun games I found, but something came to mind while writing this. If you look at the line, there's a definitive growth in the quality he delivers. And in today's hustle culture, games especially are expected to only deliver a perfect product. So watching someone not give up and keep working on their vision, it's inspiring. So I want to say keep at it, and I'll see you next time with more great games. Bye-bye!